So much has happened in the last 24 hours and today that I can't wait to share it with you. I'll be going over Donald Trump being given limited immunity in the cases being brought against him by Democrats. I'll share with you how the Obamas are backstabbing Joe and Jill Biden in order to take over the White House and control who the next president is. The Clintons are likely part of the secret coup, even though the Bidens hired them to keep the Obamas at bay. And I'll share a viral video of Colonel Douglas McGregor reacting to Biden's debate performance. I'll also share who is keeping Biden in play, and then how Biden's sister admits he is sick and starts ripping Jill Biden for putting him out in the public eye to humiliate him. Thank you guys so much for liking and sharing these videos. It really helps me out. So thank you so much. Welcome to tonight's broadcast. Okay, the time has come. The U.S. Supreme Court has finally ruled on Trump's claim that he is immune from prosecution for acts committed while in office. In a 6-3 decision, 6 conservative judges versus 3 liberal judges, the high court seemed to side with Trump by arguing that presidents, not just Trump, but presidents do enjoy immunity for official acts under the Constitution while in office. In his summary, Chief Justice John Roberts stated the president may not be prosecuted for exercising his core constitutional power, and he is entitled at a minimum to a presumptive immunity from prosecution for all of his official acts. That immunity applies equally to all occupants of the Oval Office, regardless of politics, policy, or party. With that being said, the court also made it clear that presidents do not enjoy immunity on unofficial acts. Roberts stated the president is not above the law, but Congress may not criminalize the president's conduct in carrying out the responsibilities of the executive branch under the Constitution. And the system of separated powers designed by the framers has always demanded an energetic, independent executive. So basically, you can't just bring lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit. If there's something that is outside of the Constitution that is done, like taking out your political opponent or something, then that changes everything. By the way, Democrats and liberals are absolutely losing their mind. In fact, one of them called for Trump to be hit. Anyway, I'm not even going to repeat it because I don't want YouTube to pick it up. Anyway, it's now been confirmed that that Biden-paid creator is going to be visited by the Secret Service for a death threat on Donald Trump's life. So this stuff is very, very serious. So I have to be careful what I say, even if I'm just repeating what some other bozo had to say. All right, now, the caveat left many people asking if that means Trump can still be prosecuted for his attempt to overturn the 2020 election. Now, thankfully, the Supreme Court anticipated this question and opted to let a lower court decide if Trump was acting officially or unofficially when challenging the results of the 2020 election. In my opinion, it will be hard for a court to draw a line to separate official and unofficial acts, which is why I believe they will be forced to presume he is immune, just as the Supreme Court wrote. Either way, this decision won't be made before the election, so Trump likely doesn't have to worry about any of this because he will probably be elected in the fall. Now, as controversial as my opinion may sound, I was surprised many Democrats agreed with me, but many did not and said that the Supreme Court has just ruled that Donald Trump will be the new king of America. And again, people are just absolutely losing their mind, calling for, drone attacks on the former president, just horrible, awful things. Now, in response to the ruling, Biden's campaign reacted with desperation, attempting to fundraise by spreading misinformation. They released a statement misquoting Trump, falsely claiming that he would be a dictator on day one and that it would be a bloodbath if he was reelected. In reality, Trump joked that he would be a dictator for a day and that the bloodbath referred to the auto industry because Biden is losing all of their jobs over to China and down to Mexico. This incident underscores why Biden cannot be trusted. Not only does he have dementia, but he is a liar and doesn't know that he's lying because he doesn't remember what he's doing or saying. Trump responded to this immunity ruling by writing on Truth Social, "Big win for our Constitution and democracy. Proud to be an American." With this ruling and Biden's poor debate performance last Thursday, it's safe to say that Trump got a huge boost in support. If you didn't see the debate, let me just say it was painful to watch. Not only did he freeze multiple times, new videos out show that Dana Bash from CNN was actually using hand signals to try to keep Biden's attention. Like, look over at Jake Tapper, you idiot. Look, look, look. So anyway, CNN was rigging that debate and they were using hand signals in order to keep a distracted, unfocused, poor-minded man on track. So not very good. Now, according to CBS News, one House Democrat that wished to remain anonymous said he's never seen colleagues in Congress freak out so much after a poor debate performance. They see the writing on the wall. They know that Biden is like this. What they're scared about is now we know that Biden is like this. Now, even former President Barack Obama had to do some cleanup for Biden by tossing himself under the bus. They call this falling on the sword. Obama wrote on Twitter, "Bad debate nights happen. Trust me, I know. But this election is still a choice between someone who has fought for ordinary folks his entire life and someone who only cares about himself." Obama then went on to explain that Trump is a liar and Biden isn't, which is just patently false. Now, even though we know this to be true, House Speaker Mike Johnson is attempting to see if Biden's corruption has reached the DOJ. A significant concern is that the DOJ has not yet released the requested audio tapes of Biden's interview with special counsel Robert Hur. After a subpoena proved ineffective, Republicans are now suing the DOJ to obtain the tapes. Johnson defended his actions, stating, "We're not trying to embarrass the president. We're trying to get down to the facts. So that being said, we're going to be as aggressive as we can, use every tool in our arsenal to make sure that this evidence that the House is entitled to is turned over." Now, this is where I get absolutely furious with Republicans. You think that they would say, "Oh, we're going to give 10 days to Donald Trump to get us this," or, "Oh, we're going to give another 48 hours," or, "You have until Friday, or we're going to arrest you," or, "Oh, now we're going to take a vote in a week." This is the kind of bull crap that makes Republicans angry, that makes us say, okay, the Democrats would have had Trump arrested by now. They would have already had a binder full of documents in order to impeach him. Meanwhile, you guys sit in Washington, D.C., collecting $174,000, not doing your job. Merrick Garland is in contempt of court. He needs to be arrested by the House Arms Sergeant. That's what you threaten to do. That's what you need to do. Now, grow a pair and go do your job. All right, now I have some big stories to share with you, but first, 50 seconds from today's show sponsor. Do you owe back taxes? Pandemic relief is now over. Along with hiring thousands of new agents and field officers, the IRS has kicked off 2024 by sending over 5 million pay up or else letters to those who have unfiled tax returns or balances owed. Don't waive your rights and speak with them on your own. They are not your friend. Tax Network USA, a trusted tax relief firm, has saved over $1 billion in back taxes for their clients, and they can help you secure the best deal possible. Whether you owe $10,000 or $10 million, they can help you. Whether it's business or personal, even if you have the means to pay or you're on a fixed income, they can help you resolve this tax burden And let me just share their number down below. You can call 800-245-6000 for a private free consultation, or visit tnusa.com/Gardner. Go do that right now. All right, now I'm going to share some additional information with you. This is kind of scary. The Pentagon has upgraded the U.S. military risk around the world, but they refuse to say why. A majority of U.S. military bases under United States European Command, EUCOM, in Spain, Germany, Italy, Bulgaria, Poland, and Romania have now been placed on heightened alert, with their force protection condition being raised to Charlie, level orange, right? But the reason is unknown. Now, Bill Ackman, who I've been telling you about lately, he responded on Twitter by saying, it would be helpful in light of the current state of the world to have a mentally and physically healthy president. It is remarkable how far we have fallen. We are beyond the point of absurdity, which is where danger lies. Now, the Pentagon and CENTCOM are warning U.S. military bases to be on heightened alert. Something is coming. An attack is coming, but they're refusing to tell us what it is. Maybe that's for our own protection, but let me know in the comments. What do you think about this? What is going on? Why is the military putting all of their bases on heightened alert, telling us that something is coming, that the risk is higher, but then they won't tell us what it is? Colonel McGregor commented on this, but only to say, be vigilant. So even former top military leaders are not fully aware of what exactly is going on. For me, this makes me a little bit nervous. I'm not going to lie, because the U.S. military, I don't think that they would do this for show. I think that they usually only do this kind of thing if there is something big coming. All right, now speaking of our friend Colonel Douglas McGregor, he's got a video reacting to Biden and the presidential debate. It has gone viral, and I agree with most of what he shared in that about the safety of the country, the Constitution, President Biden's mental weaknesses, and how it could hurt America. I'm going to roll the tape, and then I'm going to react alongside it with you.
Americans, the media worked closely with the White House to conceal the truth that was on display last night. President Biden is not fit to discharge the immense duties of the presidency. The alarming evidence of his cognitive decline was on display for all to witness. Yet his enablers and political allies continue to exploit the president to substitute their destructive agenda for the interests of the American people. The unconscionable betrayal of the sacred trust that must exist between the federal government and American citizens is all around us. Destructive executive orders and policy directives, many of which were likely signed when President Biden was in a rapidly diminished state of mind, inflicted tremendous damage on our nation. By opening our southern border, unelected men and women in the White House allowed millions of migrants to illegally enter our country. To these must be added lethal drugs like fentanyl and the endless numbers of human traffickers surging into our communities, jeopardizing the safety and security of our families, especially our children. The executive orders related to energy policy prioritized the demands of climate change advocates over the needs of hardworking Americans. The outcome is skyrocketing energy costs and the end of our energy independence.
All right, let me just pause for 1 second. Would you rather have Joe Biden at the head of the military, or would you rather have a seasoned professional soldier with decades of experience like Colonel McGregor leading the military? You guys already know my answer, but I think he's so right. They've weakened the military. They've weakened our country. They've allowed 10 million people or more to come into the country. They're now weakening the financial structures. And then on top of that, they've made energy so expensive, it's raised the cost of living in everything.
This is not governance. This is pandering. Reckless spending and money printing has triggered record high inflation. This is not the leadership we deserve.
Amen.
The deliberate subversion of the presidency also extends to foreign and defense policy. President Biden's manipulators fueled a proxy war in Ukraine that risks drawing us into a catastrophic confrontation with nuclear-armed Russia. Their unqualified support for Israel's disproportionate actions in Gaza erodes our moral authority and credibility as a champion of peace and stability. These actions drained our defense resources and compromised our moral standing in the world. Sadly, President Biden's fragile mental state was laid bare for all to see in last night's debate. His responses were frequently incoherent. He appeared lost, even confused, struggling to complete basic thoughts. It was heartbreaking, a spectacle that confirmed our worst fears about his deteriorating capacity. No individual whose mental health is compromised should be allowed to continue in the most demanding job on earth. Americans, we find ourselves at a critical juncture in our nation's journey. In the private sector or in matters of estate planning, the validity of signatures made under such circumstances would be challenged and invalidated in a court of law. How can we accept crucial national decisions being made under these conditions? The American people deserve better.
Wow, amen. The American people deserve better. What do you think about this? He's saying if somebody entered into a contract or made a major decision for your family or for your business while they were mentally incapable, a court of law would undo that immediately and rule in your favor. Yet that's exactly what is happening. The commander-in-chief of the United States of America is in a limited, deficient mental state, making decisions that affect 300 million Americans' lives. And yet the people propping Biden up are okay with America unraveling and diminishing and falling apart. I, for one, am completely against it.
It is time to ask, who truly governs this country? Is it we, the people, as our founders intended, or have we surrendered control to unelected bureaucrats, sprawling federal agencies, and affluent donors who do not have the best interests of ordinary Americans at heart? To secure the blessings of liberty for this generation and those to come, we must reclaim the rightful sovereignty of the American people over a dysfunctional and unresponsive political establishment. We cannot tolerate more aimless, self-defeating leadership and unaccountable governance. We confront existential threats at home, and the Biden administration has cultivated hatred and hostility to the United States abroad. President Biden should retire with grace and dignity and not be cruelly exploited in the twilight of his life. To say it's a national shame is an understatement. This travesty should end immediately. It is now obvious that the governing power to determine our nation's destiny lies in unelected hands. Americans must raise their voices in opposition to this administration. The power belongs to the American people. We must signal our discontent with policies we did not vote for: open borders, wars in Ukraine and the Middle East, soaring inflation, uncontrolled immigration, and demand the right to register our indignation at the ballot box. In view of the questionable legitimacy of the many executive orders issued under President Biden's signature, Americans should consider holding the presidential election early. It's time for Americans to demand a new government that is legitimate, one that is devoted to peace abroad and prosperity at home. It is a time for unity, a time to go forward and begin the next chapter of the most remarkable story ever told, the story of the United States of America. Thank you for listening. God bless you, and may God bless these United States.
Okay, wow. Very, very powerful. Yes, that's what we want. We want peace abroad and prosperity here in the homeland. We want a safe homeland. We deserve that. This is not what most of us signed up for. Even many Democrats are having Biden remorse. Not buyer's remorse, but Biden remorse. They didn't sign up for this. They're seeing what's happening. All these illegals coming in, the welfare systems, the safety net systems, the hospital systems, the school systems, they're all being jeopardized and affected. On top of that, they're spending hundreds of billions of dollars on foreign wars, endless wars. And we know the outcome is an endless war, not a war that ends. So we've got to make our voices heard at the ballot box. Now, he said that Biden should step down with grace and allow a early election. I love that. I don't think that that will happen, but I do love that. Let me know, what do you guys think? That was a viral video. As you know, I like Colonel McGregor. I think he's an exceptional leader. We are aligned on many things, not all things, but many things. And so I wanted to share that viral video with my community. All right, now what's more, a new Wall Street Journal piece has aides from Europe, the aides of other G7 leaders coming forward now and anonymously saying President Biden was weak at the G7 meetings. President Biden missed the big meal of the G7, yet the mainstream media failed to report on it. He was distracted, unfocused, agitated, and wandered off several times. This is what aides of other European leaders are saying about President Biden. Now, President Biden's sister is coming out, and she is blaming Jill Biden for forcing her brother, Joe Biden, to continue to be president when it's obvious he is unwell. She is saying that this is elder abuse. Here's what's happening. Early Sunday morning, spoke to a very close friend of the Biden family that says the president's sister, Valerie Biden, is extremely angry and upset with Jill Biden for what she considers abuse of Joe Biden. This is the president's sister. Valerie, worried about Joe's advanced and deteriorating dementia, and has been pushing for Joe to retire for well over 2 years as she watched her brother's mental acuity fall in rapid decline. Valerie Biden blames FLOTUS, the First Lady, Jill Biden, for pushing Joe to continue, as she believes her brother can no longer decide with any real cognitive acumen for himself. This is scary. I'm told Valerie is extremely angry with Jill and believes she is abusing her brother by pushing him into the public when he can no longer control his emotions. Valerie Biden fears Jill is pushing him into the public eye while his mental abilities diminish, will permanently ruin her brother's legacy, all so that she can feed her own ego and remain relevant. Wow. This is coming from Joe Biden's sister. She is recognizing my brother, who I have known for 81 years, is not well. My brother, his mental acuity is gone. His ability to control his emotions, gone. His ability to have common sense, gone. His ability to lead, gone. And who is the one pushing for all of this? Jill Biden. Jill Biden is the one humiliating. Jill Biden is the one making our country unsafe. Think about this. If you and I are worried about this, what the hell do you think leaders around the world are thinking? You think they're thinking, oh, yes, that Joseph Robinette Biden, he sure is sharp. He sure is strong. He sure has got his wits about him. He's a force to be reckoned with. No, that's not what they're thinking. I'm sure they're actually terrified. A weak America is a weak globe. Now, to the public, President Barack Obama is telling the public and the Democrat Party, Joe is doing great, and we should trust in Joe. However, new reports show behind the scenes Obama is freaking out, telling the Democrat Party it is time to get a new candidate and get one fast. They are looking for who to replace Biden at the convention. Now, remember, Jill and Joe hired Hillary and Bill Clinton to help Joe Biden get reelected. But I'll bet you they are secretly working with the Obamas on a presidential coup in order to remove Joe, because they would rather have the power of the party than to be loyal to their friend. Now, Obama and the Clintons have a lot to hide, and they need somebody that they can control and trust to keep and protect their secrets. Now, if you think I'm telling the truth, I want you to type amen, or at least a capital A, because this is exactly what's happening. The Daily Mail is confirming that this is exactly what's happening. But this is getting a little long, so let me just finish with this one final story from Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson wrote his thoughts about the coup to remove Biden and also his thoughts on the debate. He wrote, "From an unusually good source, Obama's tweet supporting Joe Biden was disingenuous. In private, Obama is telling people Biden can't win, and he is therefore in favor of an open convention. Obama will not say whom he supports, nor as of yesterday afternoon had he met personally with Biden to deliver the message. Relations between the Obamas and Bidens have never been warm. At times, they've been hostile, but recently they've deteriorated further, mostly due to Jill Biden. In the hours and days after the debate, she kept her husband cloistered away from anyone who might convince him to drop out. Jill Biden is the driving force behind every husband's reelection campaign, just as she was in 2020 when other members of the family, including Biden's sister Valerie, considered him too impaired to run. The next generation of potential Democrat candidates understands all this as an opportunity, and they're circling, particularly Gretchen Whitmer, who is promoting herself aggressively." Wow. Tucker knows Democrats and Republicans. I'm talking the big ones high up. And what he is getting is that Jill Biden is doing everything in her power to keep her husband Joe in power. She wants him to have the power of the presidency. Maybe it's because she's afraid of Trump. Maybe it's because of her ego, wanting to remain important, have pretty dresses, do speaking engagements, remain relevant. I don't know. But I can tell you this, she is putting the United States of America in danger. Every day that Joe Biden remains in office, more and more illegals come into the country. The U.S. military has just raised its heightened emergency status. Things are not good. Things are falling apart very, very rapidly. I agree with Tucker Carlson. I also agree with Colonel Douglas McGregor. Let me know if you agree. If you don't, let me know why. I will do my best to read as many of your comments as I can, just like I do every day. I don't need you to 100% agree with me, but I appreciate you stopping by and allowing me to go through these big, big news stories today. Nate, now before you go, please hit that subscribe button. We want to get to 1.7 million amazing truth seekers. There's a lot going on. I appreciate your trust in me researching and reporting back to you what's really going on in the world and in Washington, D.C. I want a strong America. I want a peaceful world. I want prosperity for all of us. So anyway, before you go, I want to remind you that you are amazing. Just in case nobody tells you that today, I'm telling you as you go into tonight that you are amazing. I love you. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will see you on the next